Welcome back to Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets on the Mayo Media Network. This is for Wednesday, February 9th, 2022. We are officially back in the middle of NHL season with another 6-game slate on tap for today. As always, if you could give the show a like wherever you are listening or watching, subscribe to whatever podcast feed you are listening to this on, and if you are on YouTube, leave a comment below with your favorite bet of the night. Little 7-game action yesterday to get us kind of back in the mix, and now we got 6 tonight, so on to the games. We start in Philadelphia. The only early game on the night is the Detroit Red Wings in Philadelphia. Flyers minus 140 as I record this the day before. Really intriguing, if ultimately uninteresting game to start us off. Flyers are favored. It is weird to see Philadelphia favored in any game right now. They went on a massive losing streak before the All-Star break, before finally winning a couple games right before Carter Hart started to play really well. So obviously, any NHL team, once your goaltender starts playing a little better, you're obviously more likely to get some wins. So that's been helpful for them. Detroit competed well in their last few games before the break, but haven't been able to get the wins. Pretty good game against LA, good games against Detroit, or good games against Anaheim, teams like that, but they're just not able to get the wins right now against a bad Philadelphia team. I am tempted to pull the trigger at the plus money. Despite their last 2 wins, minus 140 on Philadelphia is just a big no for me no matter what. So it's kind of the Detroit Red Wings or bust here. Philadelphia basically in tank mode right now as they enter the stretch run here. Not in a playoff position, not in a spot where they can even compete for the playoffs or have any hope for it. Their most likely trade bait, Claude Giroux, was just at the All-Star game. Probably the first time I can actually remember a player increasing his trade value with his performance at the All-Star game. He actually looked really good. He was fast. He was clearly enjoying himself. Playing with better players, playing on a winning team clearly was something that he was interested in. It does seem really weird to see a guy up his trade value with an All-Star game performance, but I think Claude Giroux did just that. Coming back off the break, maybe he's reinvigorated. Maybe he can lead the Flyers to a few wins here coming out of the gate, but I don't see it happening, and I don't see minus 140 as a good bet for that. So it's going to be the Red Wings or nothing for me. Going to wait and see what the goaltending matchups are and see if there's any late news developing before this game starts, before placing a bet. Next game on the night, Nashville Predators in Dallas. As I record this the day before, Nashville plus 110 on the money line. Dallas at home, a slight favorite at minus 130. This is a really, really big game to start the second half of the season for both of these teams. Predators established a good grip on a playoff position with a really strong first half. And Dallas, in the same division, they need to knock somebody out if they want to get into the playoffs. And Nashville's one of the teams in their way. Nashville's got a decent-sized points lead, so Dallas needs to win these hockey games if they want to have any chance of getting into the Stanley Cup playoffs. I think Dallas has a better team. I think they have the better roster. They're just really inconsistent. Some days they look like world beaters. They'll beat Washington, or they lost to Washington 5-0 one night. Looked horrible. The next night they beat Boston 6-1. They look amazing. Jump out to a big lead against the Flames, looking great, and then all of a sudden in the third period they give it away. So you just never know what Dallas Stars team is going to show up. I think going into the stretch run here, it's going to be either they're going to lose a couple coming out of the break, fall out of the picture too much, and then they're just going to kind of go on a bit of a slide, or else they're going to start really hot and they're going to go on a 10-11 game streak here where they get themselves back in the playoff position. I don't think I'm going to bet on this game. I'm going to wait and see how it goes, watch how these teams play, and then use that kind of as a gauge to bet on Dallas Stars games moving forward. Nashville just needs to get back to playing the dominant possession game that they played a couple months ago when they really solidified their playoff standing. Recently, they're still getting the wins, but they're not playing as good of hockey. UC Saros is playing unbelievable in net, and he's leading them to a bunch of victories. But the way that they're playing just hasn't been as good. So I do think Nashville Predators quite likely to slide out of their playoff position. And I think it's going to ultimately be the Dallas Stars that take that spot from them. Next game of the night is in Edmonton. We got the Chicago Blackhawks plus 175. In Edmonton, the Oilers are minus 205 as I record this the day before. I can't even argue with the minus 205, even though I do think the Oilers are an incredibly flawed team. They have the dominant top talent that no other team can match, especially not the Chicago Blackhawks. And Chicago, quite frankly, is horrible. They look bad going into the break, losing badly to Minnesota, Vancouver, and Colorado to end their first half. Alex DeBrincat has been the lone bright spot. He should be able to generate chances with Patrick Kane, but after that, there just isn't a whole lot of offense on this hockey team. The one positive that I can come up with is the matchup. Edmonton comes out with inexplicable stinkers at times. Just look at their game against Ottawa just before the break. Massive must-win game for the Oilers, and they just come out flat and lose in overtime. Whenever McDavid and Draisaitl are not on the ice, Chicago should be able to carry the play. Even so, I would probably need about plus 200 to consider placing a bet on them. Can't bet the Oilers with their history of just coming out with stinkers. Can't bet the Blackhawks with their history of just being a bad hockey team. Just a game I'm staying away from here. Next game on the night, Vegas Golden Knights plus 120 in Calgary, Flames minus 140. I didn't mention this in the last game, but this is the second half of a back-to-back for Vegas and Edmonton from the previous game they did play last night. As I mentioned, I am recording this before that game happened, so I'm not sure what happened, who won, how the game went out, but I don't think it really makes a difference for this game. This is just going to be an excellent game between two teams fighting for the top spot in the Pacific Division right now. A division that I think Vegas will ultimately end up leading once they get Jack Eichel back. Once they get Alec Martinez back on defense, they're just too good, too deep, too strong. So Vegas probably going to take a stranglehold on the division. But for now, Calgary being favored minus 140. Vegas playing the night before, not quite at full strength yet. I think it is a fair line. Calgary played really well on their road trip to end their break before the All-Star game. Big comeback victory over Dallas and then a dominant win over Arizona. Not a lot of teams can compete with Calgary at 5-on-5. They take a ton of shots. They don't allow a ton. But Vegas is a much tougher matchup than Dallas or Arizona, especially in terms of allowing shots. Not a lot of teams allow less shots than the Vegas Golden Knights, so this is going to be a good litmus test for how the Flames can play against the top team. Top line of Johnny Gaudreau, Elias Lindholm, and Matthew Tkachuk has been probably the best line in the league all season long. These are the games they need to really prove it, step up, and show that they can dominate against anybody, not just the easier matchups. So back home and rested, I do think Calgary probably takes this game. Most importantly, on the Flames side of things, Jacob Markstrom is rested after the All-Star break. He was kind of getting a little overworked near the end of the first half of the season. You can always tell when he gets overworked, he starts to play a lot worse. So getting him the rest he needs in this stretch run will be important. He should be rested and ready to go for this game. I am leaning towards the Flames, but so are the odds, so I'm not yet sure if it's a game that I place a bet on. Next game of the night is in Seattle. Two bad teams, Arizona Coyotes, Seattle Kraken. This is just a dumb line for me. It's Arizona plus 225, Seattle home favorites minus 265 right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I can't justify the Seattle Kraken being favored against almost anyone, especially not to this level. So I'm probably going to go back to the Arizona Coyotes as well, depending on what they do in net. I know it looks like Scott Wedgwood is going to be out for this game, so Carter Hutton may make his comeback. He might be back in the lineup. If he's playing, I probably don't bet on the game. I just don't trust him. He was really bad to start the season. He's been injured for a while and hasn't played. But any other scenario, I probably will end up placing a bet on the Coyotes. They give up a ton of shots, but Seattle just doesn't take many, so I do think Seattle gets more shots than usual in this matchup. However, they don't have the talent or just the scoring touch to take advantage. Arizona shouldn't win this game. Back-to-back, they played in Vancouver the night before, but this is just based on the betting odds. I think Arizona should be closer to minus one or plus 160 or 170. At plus 225, it's an easy bet for me to make. The last game on the night is in Vancouver. Vancouver also played last night against the Arizona Coyotes. Now they get the New York Islanders coming into town. The Islanders need to come out of the break flying if they want to give themselves any chance at making a run for a playoff spot, and they get a great matchup for it. Like I said, Vancouver playing in their second game in as many nights, missing top defenseman Quinn Hughes in the COVID protocol. I just haven't liked what I've seen from them at all, really, in the last couple of weeks. The new coach bump is clearly wearing off, and they're kind of settling back into just being a mediocre hockey team. In terms of the expected goals percentage, which is a stat that I really like to look at, the Islanders have been a top 5 team in the league going into the break. They were playing really well in their couple of weeks heading into the break, but they're going to need to win some games against some better opponents. The one thing I have noticed about the Islanders is that they really feast on bad teams. Any game that they should win when they're pretty heavily favored, they do win. It's just a matter of beating those better teams if they want to make a push for the playoffs. However, for tonight's purposes, Vancouver Canucks not a very strong team, so the Islanders should take care of business. I expect them to get the win. Minus 115 is a great line for them. I'd probably bet it up to minus 140, so I will definitely be on the minus 115. That's the last game of the night, so to recap, definitely betting on the Islanders as a slight favorite. Arizona, pending on who they play in net, I will probably bet on them as a big underdog. And then I'm looking into possibly betting the Calgary Flames and the Detroit Red Wings as well. Going to need some goalie news, some matchup news, see how these teams play the night before as well before finalizing those bets. As always, thank you for watching. Jake and DJ will take you through the rest of the week here with Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets. Thank you.